Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today we're going to be jumping down into the crypto space to give you a bit of a market update with what is being going on as the market is relatively stagnant. We're going to take a look at what is trending right now. We're going to have a look at the market leader. We're going to have a look at some Glassnode data for background data on Bitcoin. We're going to have a look at a few altcoins as well and give you a bit of an idea as to what is going on and what I would expect to happen next here in the crypto space. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord, links in the description down below. Fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free to join and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there, so why not check it out. If you're looking for a little bit more from the crypto space, in the description below you'll also find links to our Patreon services as well. Why not check that out if that is your bag. Right, let's jump right on down. We're going to jump into the desktop and we're going to take a look at a few different things here. And we're going to start off by taking a look at what is actually trending right now. Okay, guys, so we're just on CoinMarketCap. We're just going to have a look at what's actually trending, right? So there's a few altcoins here that we'll be familiar with, and some that we might not be so familiar with, right? GMT, something that we get requested for quite a bit down in our Discord server, so we do the occasional TA on that one. SHIB, I obviously did some TA in the last couple of days on that one and all that kind of stuff, so check that out on YouTube if that's your bag. Otherwise, join us in Discord and we obviously go through things like that as well. GMM, we've got Near Protocol, obviously, Matic, Bitcoin's there at number 6. STG, not really sure what Stargate Finance is, but Solana's on here, BNB, Jasmy, we've covered a couple of times on the channel. Cardano is ranking at 11th for trending, and I think a lot of that might come down to stable coins and stuff that's going on the Cardano ecosystem at the moment. We've got FaceDown, we've got GST, XCH, Tribe, Moon River, obviously a one that we called out massively back in 2021, and it's doing incredibly well. Cello, Bitcoin Cash, we've got NYM and Ape NFT as well as the top 20 there. I'm not going to go through any of the others, but pretty much common ones that you'd expect to kind of see in your trending section. Obviously, what we're not seeing trending on here, which is quite an interesting one, is Doge. We're not seeing Doge as a trending coin today on CoinMarketCap, but SHIB is up there at number 2. And the highest rated one in terms of trending right now is GMT, and this basically comes down to what's being searched for on CoinMarketCap. So I thought that was an interesting kind of one to kind of take away and to kind of get into. We're just going to jump into Bitcoin for a sec as well, right? So obviously we know what's trending. We know that Bitcoin, I think, was number 6, was it? Bitcoin, yeah, number 6. So no one's really, overly interested. They're probably just checking it to see what Bitcoin's up to get a good idea as to what the market is up to, which is why I tend to do Bitcoin videos, not because I'm a huge investor in BTC. I'm not. I do hold a little bit of it. It's in cold storage and I don't really care too much about it. I don't actively buy, sell, or trade Bitcoin, but I like to know what it's up to because it is the market leader, right? So in the case of Bitcoin here, I do expect some kind of B-wave bounce, but we've got to come down first. I did speak about this morning, so I'm not going to go over everything. Once this correction comes down, probably the lows kind of 35K range, essentially when we'll be looking for some kind of surge upwards, right? But the main thing that I want to talk about really when it comes to Bitcoin is the data that sits behind Bitcoin. And I am pretty much talk about this all the time, and every single day I'm communicating the changes down in our Discord server. But essentially, we're seeing more and more BTC leave exchanges. This is something I've been talking about for months, and it's good to see that some of the mainstream crypto media outlets are finally actually communicating this as well, because this is something that we've seen over 2.4 million Bitcoin leave the exchanges since January 2022, right? And I've been talking about it for months, but no one seemed to be overly, aware of what this actually means, right? But it's actually a big catalyst for change at a later date. What you're actually witnessing is basically a huge accumulation of Bitcoin, right? And I keep talking about, why I think we're in a bull market rather than a bear market. And again, that's subject to people's preferences on what constitutes bear and bull. For me, when I take a look at the structure over a long period of time, it's a bullish structure, not a bearish structure. And therefore, I see this as a bull run. And what we're seeing here is data that also confirms such a statement, right? We're not seeing data that suggests $25,000. That is just hopium, because if Bitcoin goes down there, the buying pressure is going to be insanely high anyway. But what we've actually been witnessing is Bitcoin being accumulated in these kind of $30,000 ranges, quite heavily, right? 2.4 million Bitcoin leaving exchanges is not small. That's over 10% of the Bitcoin supply, right? Total Bitcoin supply. That's not even out there anyway. So we think about, how much Bitcoin's actually out there, and 2.4 million of that was on exchanges, is no longer there, available for purchase from by retail investors, right? That's a big deal. Now, we can go a little bit deeper than that. We obviously talk about the balance on exchanges. We're a multi-year low. This is something that dates back to, we haven't been this low since November 2018. Massive catalyst for change here, because essentially when it comes to price discovery, people misunderstand what market cap is. People think that you have to have a lot of money going in order to have a huge market cap and to drive that price, right? Essentially, it's not. It's actually really simple. I mean, market cap itself is a simple calculation of the last sold price multiplied by the circulating supply, right? It has nothing to do with money going into a project, and it has nothing to do with liquidity. It's a simple calculation. The thing that we really should be focusing in on are the more simple terms. It's supply and demand, right? The supply is shrinking, and all we now need is an increase in the demand. Now, the demand isn't there at the moment, and that's for a very good and key reason, right? Right now, what we're witnessing is the supply dropping down as it is being accumulated by whales, and I'm going to go through that in a second. Basically, whales are accumulating Bitcoin by the bucket load, right? They're basically draining the exchanges of Bitcoin, and this is for a key reason. Basically, if you can control the supply of any particular asset, whether that is gold, silver, diamonds, which is a very good example, essentially you're able to dictate the price, because you control the supply going into the exchanges, and if you squeeze that supply, and the demand is high, the price will increase naturally. Just take a look at oil as another example. You can see what's been going on with the fuel pricing, specifically as there's a shortage of supply, the prices skyrocket. And obviously, as the prices start to steadily move up, people naturally kind of increase the demand for that asset, because they are worried that they're going to miss the boat and it's going to continue to rise, and they are going to have to pay more for an asset, or they are not going to see that asset appreciating in the way that they want to. So ultimately, the two things feed each other, and it starts with a squeeze on the supply, and that's exactly what we see here with BTC. And it's been going on for months, right? And it's good to see that finally this is actually being communicated outside of this channel, because we don't have a huge reach here, but it is good to finally see that this is being spoken about a little bit wider than just us. We've been talking about it for a while, but it's important that other people also communicate it to a wider audience, so that we're all aware of what is going on. Now, we can go a little bit deeper than this. If we come over to the addresses and we actually take a look at the number of active addresses, that's actually decreasing, and that's an interesting metric. We take that into consideration with this chart. Now, this chart is showing us an increase of addresses with over 1,000 Bitcoin. Now, why is that important? Well, that's important because it was a little while ago that we saw a decrease. Okay, we saw a decrease here of addresses with 1,000 Bitcoin. This was basically happening back in around May time, I think, maybe a little bit earlier than that, February 2021, right? Before Bitcoin reached $65,000, they were offloading it. Bearing in mind, they started accumulating way down in late 2020 and even earlier than that. If I actually go ahead and extend this out a little bit, and we can take a look at where these addresses really started to ramp up, was after the pandemic crash in 2020. A very similar area that Chris and myself were accumulating a lot of crypto, right? Buying it down right down here at the rock bottom area and then selling it right at the top. Now, what are you witnessing? Well, you're witnessing not only Bitcoin leaving the exchanges by the absolute hundreds of thousands daily. What are we witnessing is basically the whales accumulating and stacking up more than 1,000 BTC per wallet address, okay? And this is now increasing so much sharper than we saw previously. It's not too dissimilar to what we see over here, and when Bitcoin was back down here in December of 2020, before really everything started to take off. This is a significant change, and this happened back in February, okay? Again, I don't think that many people have been talking about it, so do communicate this out to as many people as you can by sharing this video or whatever you need to do. But essentially, we are seeing massive amounts of adoption happening for Bitcoin, but still the price comes down. And why do we think that is? Well, that is simply because there isn't demand there. Okay, so the supply can shrink, but if the demand is also shrinking, as in there's a narrative out there not to buy or not to short the market and all that kind of stuff, what you're actually witnessing here is basically leverage players getting wrecked. They either short and the price will move up, and the Bitcoin can exchange between the retail investor and the whale, or we actually bounce up and we basically liquidate out any shorters, or we move the price back down and we liquidate anyone who's going long. Essentially, there isn't a huge amount of demand for new retail investors to come in and buy Bitcoin, okay? And as a result of that, the price can basically be pushed in either direction as per the whales and institutionals choices, right? They want to push the price up, they can push the price up, thereby manipulating the the supply on the exchanges. And right now they are gearing up for one hell of a run to the upside. Now, of course, we can shoot this back out into I'll go up into our weekly time frame, because I do think there's a lot here to kind of be said and to be spoken about. So on our weekly time frame, we are tracking the bullish sentiment and structure. This is what we've been talking about pretty much from these low points of December 2018. The pandemic crash in March 2020 was our wave 2 low. Up here is our wave 3. We're in a running flat correction. I've spoken about this for a very long time. That's nothing new. And of course, we are looking at moving up to $100,000 plus, right? Potentially higher than that as well. The squeeze on the supply right now is potentially telling me that we're going to end up with a much higher than $100,000, but I have put that there as a bit of a guide. Anywhere between 79,000 and 108,000 is probable, but there's also the ability to have this push up so much higher based on other ways of measuring that. I'm not going to go through it in this video, but you kind of get the idea here. The squeeze on the supply is one of the elements that is required to see Bitcoin really surge up. We haven't broken the structure. There's nothing bearish about this. This is all corrective. All of the patterns here are corrective patterns, and the trend-based patterns are all intact, and they are all pointing up rather than down. So what does that mean? Well, it means essentially that we're in a pretty good spot. Now, if we jump over into the monthly, you kind of get rid of some of the noise. You can kind of see the structure here a little bit. If we bring back the stock RSI, we can see that it's completely oversold, and we are looking for that surge. Last time that we were down this low on the monthly stochastic RSI, we were all the way down at the bottom of wave 1. Okay, that was the bear market low. So whether you want to call it a bear market, you can do it whatever you call it, whatever you want. To me, it's a bull run. But essentially, that stochastic RSI is exactly where you want it to be for another bull run, if you want to call it another bull run, or in what I would call it, the last legs of this particular bull run. Okay, so as we look at that fifth wave, that's where we're going. That's where the stochastic RSI is, and that's where Bitcoin is on a slightly longer time frame. So with all of that said, and we know all of that kind of stuff, and we kind of have all that under our belts, let's jump into a couple of altcoins, right? Because there are some interesting things that are going on, and we get a lot of flack for talking about what we think are going to be absolutely insane projects, right? And these are potentially hated on right now because people invested too late and they got burnt. But nonetheless, you only make a loss if you sell, in my opinion. But that's all it is. I'm not a financial advisor. I cannot offer you financial advice. But essentially, what you are doing is basically buying the top of wave 3, and you've rode it down into wave 4 lows, hypothetically, and we are still got to go up. We've still got to go up into a fantastic wave 5. So I still think there's a lot of growth in many of these altcoins. So we're going to jump into a couple here. Obviously, Cardano, I think, is going to do incredibly well. Here we have the 5-wave structure coming up. We're looking for some kind of correction to finish down here. Again, I've got this pinpointed at about 87.6 to 90 cent before we start rallying on up again. And again, I think if I jump up into our weekly, you get the idea here. We are still tracking that 5th wave as per Bitcoin. And I do think this is going to absolutely smash people's faces when they start to realize exactly what is going on here with Cardano. And they are a bit too late to the party. Maybe they bought at the top here, sold at the bottom, and now they call it a scam coin or whatever. Essentially, there's a lot of FUD out there of people who just simply do not understand how these things actually work. But for the most part, everything here is actually working out beautifully. Specifically, if you're like Chris and myself buying down in the low ranges and you're in this space earlier on, if you were unfortunate enough to buy the tops of wave 3 and you're really frustrated, you don't understand the space, join us in Discord. We're going to support as many people as we possibly can navigate this space in the same way that we've navigated it from those low areas in 2020. And really it is the bear market where you want to be, and this is the last stages. So if that's you, join us in Discord. We'll help you out for sure. VeChain we still think is going to do incredibly well. We are of course tracking an ABC up, an ABC complete down, and now we're looking for that next leg upwards. I still think this is going to do absolutely insanely well. I think this is a very comfortable 15 or so X, and again I think it's going to surprise people, right? Utility matters, and VeChain has that in bucket loads, right? So seriously, VeChain, it's going to be one of those coins that just surprises people straight out of the gate. The same with Harmony1. Again, lots of people now very frustrated by it. It did incredibly well. It's pulled back down. People don't understand why, and all of that kind of good stuff. But essentially, I do think this is going to be moving on so much higher, and everything that they're doing from a fundamental point of view is literally it's going to change this space for the better. So watch out. There's some big things happening on Harmony1, in my opinion. 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘, we obviously know about. This obviously has the ABC up, the ABC down, just like VeChain. And obviously, we've started to see that impulsive structure go upwards. Again, VeChain's tracking really, really nicely. I would be surprised if this stays below $5 by the end of the bull run. I think it's going to go absolutely insane with an impulsive structure. However, that is pure speculation at the moment. There is nothing here to confirm that you're going to be moving up to those high levels. I see lots of people talk about cup and handles and things like that, but essentially all of that is basically long term. They'll be talking about completing those patterns way in 2025, and not for this particular cycle. And I think it's kind of very misleading. But I do think that there's a reasonable amount of expectations that sit behind this, and the price is definitely going to be moving up significantly, in my opinion. But first, like always, we have to see the price move down in order to allow us to move up. Nothing moves in straight lines, and the target is 4.2 to 8.7. That range is the corrective zone I have marked out for 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘. From there, we should be then launching up nicely and going straight up into new all-time highs very, very quickly, in my opinion, on 𝗲. Everything metaverse that's going on there is fantastic, and it's been around for a while, and it got a lot of hate back in 2021 when it started to not perform as well as people were expecting it to, and now you see the polar opposite. A lot of people are excited about it. They FOMO'd in, and they're not going to be surprised, or they're going to be very surprised by what they see happen next. But nonetheless, 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘 is going to be doing incredibly well, in my opinion. Now, the last one I kind of want to just jump into here is XRP. XRP is obviously has a lawsuit going on with the SEC, and Ripple and the SEC lawsuit. Now, ultimately, I think that's going to come into a conclusion. A settlement, something that we've been talking about on this channel pretty much since since December 2020, when the lawsuit was dropped. It was absolutely foolish. It was backed on next to no information or no factual information whatsoever, as far as I could see. And it was actually a really fortunate time if you were following us back then. We were buying that dip. Who wanted? Basically, what we saw is basically we were buying XRP right down at these low points, right? March 2020, we rode it up into the high points up towards November 2020. The lawsuit happened, but at that time, at that high point just here, people were complaining. They wanted cheaper XRP. They wanted the price to come down. And well, Jay Clayton did that for you. He caused billions of dollars worth of damage, and the price of XRP fell, right? And so the SEC basically, hurt a lot of retail investors, the ones that they're supposed to protect, by crashing the price and causing billions of dollars worth of damage. Now, essentially, that 17-cent XRP there was a fantastic opportunity that we all wanted here, right? Me and Chris, we were buying that. We were buying all that fear, because this lawsuit could end no way other than a settlement or to that effect. Really, there was no other outcome in our heads that would basically make the SEC successful in this mission. Nonetheless, it's been choppy. It's been delay after delay after delay. The lawsuit itself has actually delayed XRP. It's hindered them, and it has suppressed the price during this cycle. But nonetheless, where are we right now is this B wave. This B wave is a critically important B wave because it is a triangle, and it happened after this A wave. This A wave is not impulsive. It is corrective, and that is courtesy of Jay Clayton and the SEC back in December of 2020. This does mean, though, that we're going to get probably an explosive and impulsive move upwards and towards $9.97. Again, this is about an 16x, I think, by the end of this. Now, it could go higher, absolutely could, and I think multi-cycle 2025 XRP is going to be, vastly higher than we've ever kind of would imagine it being, and you can speculate on all that kind of stuff. But for this particular cycle, under the structure that we currently have, I am seeing here technically possible $9.97. Okay, and again, market cap has no bearing on that. It is literally supply demand. Many people think that XRP is going to, I think it's like 589 or 587 or whatever that number is, over $1,000, $10,000, whatever you believe XRP is going to go to, that's on you. And for me personally, I rely on data. The data is suggesting 997. That's about a 16x, which is pretty much in line with the rest of the crypto market during the end of this bull run. So that seems pretty plausible. I do think all of this, though, is only possible when we have settlement or conclusion. And I do think it will end in settlement because, let's face it, they've just been slapped hard, like Chris, if you will, from Will. And essentially, we are going to see, serious discussions, I think, between the SEC and Ripple about maybe bringing this to conclusion. I could be wrong on that, and we might see this drag out even longer, but ultimately the SEC cannot afford to lose it or lose the case. It is a critically important case to set precedent for the crypto space. So settlement is probably the most likely scenario. We said that for a very long time. So yeah, for XRP, this is going to be a really big move. But again, we are talking multiple weeks into multiple months before we actually see these things get completed. But nonetheless, the structure is here and we are looking pretty good overall. So guys, I'm going to leave that video right there. There's a lot of things I've been talking about. What coins have been trending right now, which is really interesting to get an idea as to what people are actually currently looking into. The background of the data that sits behind Bitcoin. So much accumulation has been going on that this is only going to lead to one thing, and that is a significant price rise on BTC at a very rapid rate. Bitcoin has not been this low on exchanges since 2018, and we all know what happened there. We can obviously see what's going on with Bitcoin from a structural point of view and why I think we are likely to be heading towards $100,000. And obviously, the altcoins are also following a very similar path. Guys, if you found this video useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe? Tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With all this said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.